Welcome back to the Weathermatic Partner Series. I'm Lex Mason, EVP of Sales for Weathermatic. Today I'm joined by my good friend Joe Chiellini of ASI Landscape Management in Tampa, Florida. Joe and his team have really raised the bar in what it means to be a partner in landscape and have brought a whole new take on water management to their clients. This is the Weathermatic Premier Partner Series.
All right, well, we'll jump straight into it. So again, Joe, thanks so much, buddy, for joining us here. Really appreciate you taking the time and getting together. I know it's getting hot outside, so water's on a lot of people's mind today. And I know you real well, but some of the people that'll be tuning in and listening have just seen ASI start climbing that top 150 list. So congrats again for another new ranking there. That's awesome. So congratulations to you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I know a little bit about your backstory and the old business that you came from, firefighting and everything, but would love it if you wouldn't share just a little bit about how you got into the business and ultimately what you guys have been up to over the past couple of years.
Sure. As you mentioned, I was a local fireman here in Hillsborough County. I ended up retiring a year and a half ago after doing 30 years of the fire service.
Wow.
But in my time there, I was, as most firemen, we all have part-time jobs and find different things to do. And my love or passion was just kind of being outside. I did, mason, I did framing, I did all kinds of stuff. And then one day decided, this cutting grass thing might work for me as well. So the entrepreneurial spirit took off and I started cutting grass and just doing residential yards and so forth until I got a break and went into commercial, and I'll shorten the story, but, 25 years later and $14 million later, we got 170 team members. I retired from the fire service, as I mentioned, as a captain after 30 years, and really following my second passion, or second life passion, if you will, and leading our team into battle with landscaping.
Well, man, thank you so much for your service there. I mean, for 30 years, that's incredible to say that. And I'll use the water segue to come into here. So it sounds like you left one water piece and you're hopping into another. So Joe, tell me a little bit about what kind of a role. I mean, you've been in this business now for years, and you've seen different trends kind of come and go. So what role has water now played in the landscape business that it might not used to have? What are y'all doing differently around that?
So, in Florida, especially, we believe as the next movement, there was a green movement in years past. Here at ASI, we're believing the blue movement's going to be next. And water is going to be an important, and not only it's an important resource now, but it's going to be almost a commodity. And we feel like we owe it not only to our children and our families, but to protect as much as we can. And that comes to water usage. And so what we've been able to do since we partnered with you guys is to take our Weathermatics, and we're not even asking you if you want to purchase a timer or become part of the preferred vendor program or any of that. We're telling you this is how we do business at ASI. If you want ASI on your site, we're bringing this particular water management piece to you, and this is how we do business. And that helps us know how serious you are about your water and being a water management and being in the water management business with us. It also tells us a little bit about our client. Do we have a partner here? Because it is a commitment. And if they're not interested in it, that kind of paints a little picture for us. Now, you don't want to be picky about your clients because sometimes you want them and maybe some things don't work out. But for the most part, we have had huge success in that our potential clients and potential partners really appreciate what we're doing with you guys at Weathermatic and what we're kind of, I hate to say mandating, but we are. We're saying if you want to do business with ASI, this is how we do business.
Well, I mean, people use the word, consultant and partnership and things like that in this business. And at the end of the day, right, they're hiring you and they're hiring, you as their landscape partner to protect their asset, right? To invest in it, to bring your industry expertise and everything there. And I mean, the old saying, right? You don't get plants without water. You don't get a healthy landscape without water. And you guys were such an early, adopter, early thinker out there to take that stance and to move it. And we're seeing that happen more and more as this, kind of the constant rise in labor costs and the constant rise in water expense nationwide. So it's changing the narrative in those RFP, bid meetings, proposal presentations, when you bring up something like that, because it's different than what everybody else is, talking about.
Well, and, part of our package that we turn in is we discuss our core values at ASI, which are passion, partnerships, and solutions. And how can I sit there and sell that on one hand, and that when Weathermatic presents me with an opportunity to live our core values of partnerships and solutions, because that's what we're bringing to the table, and not act on it. What am I saying to the team? What am I saying to a potential client? What am I saying to the community that we work in? So we believe in it all the way down to our core values.
Man, I appreciate that. That hits it on the head so well. Because when we, 3 years ago, when we were spinning up this, this partnership program, that was really the last missing link on this thing. It was how do we make it easy to pay for, to where it can just become a standard instead of an afterthought or some additional adder. How can we make it part of the standard? And then even if we do that, how do we make it to where you'll be successful? And so where you guys have spent 30 years perfecting your craft, Weathermatic's been over here for 75 years, trying to perfect our craft. We knew that we had to staff a team to support you, our partners, in making this a raving success, because some widget in a box is not going to do it for you. You and I both know that. And so I love the core value of partnership. It's one of ours as well. So that's why I think the alignment's always been great between our teams. So shift gears with me a little bit. I know I mentioned the labor component and how people are doing some new creative things to help combat that, and at the same time bring a newer generation into the landscaping business, which is candidly it's aging. So I know you had a pretty unique situation pop up there recently. So tell me a little bit about how, maybe SmartLink or anything like that has helped you reach out to a new recruiting class.
So as anybody, I believe the irrigation division in our company, and also I think as an industry, it's getting harder and harder to find the technicians. We have a saying around here: nobody wants to be on the bad end of a shovel, and we get that. The newer generation doesn't take a sense of pride in maybe digging a ditch and putting some pipe in it or whatever it might be. But there are still those technicians out there, and unfortunately or fortunately, maybe the technology is passing them. And so what we've done is we've kind of looked at it from a standpoint of how can we appeal to the newer generation, and how can we get them to feel like not only the green industry, but the water management industry, the irrigation industry is a place to look for a career. And with so many, I feel bad for kids coming out of college these days. There's so many things that get thrown at them and so many different things they can do, that maybe we get overlooked over here in the green industry and so forth. So what we did is a great story, but we got a success story out of it. A friend of a friend sent me their son that was studying criminology, graduated this year, and COVID hit. He was working security at a hotel. Well, hotels and resorts took a big bang. He was out of a job, called and asked, if we had anything. He didn't care what it was, but, he's from New Jersey. He's living in Tampa with no work now. And so we brought him in. He's a college graduate. We gave him an iPad. We showed him the Weathermatic and how it all works. And we just asked him, hey, go run through some systems. This is how they turn on. Here's how it works. After a week of training, he was ready to go on his own. Huge success story. He's doing more. He's running through more systems than any of our other team members were, because he understands the technology. He was able to pick up on it. Let's be honest. He's wired like that. I just turned 50. This kid's wired to pick that up. I can't. It would take me 2 weeks. But the bottom line is he picked up on it, went to running with it, and now we're just sending the technicians behind him to do the repairs. And we're getting a better wet check out of our team, and the technicians are doing what they're best at. So we're seeing, some people might say, oh, you're sending double the help, but you know what? At the end of the day, how about the quality piece? How about the piece that we're giving to our clients, which is really, really good service? So anyways, that's our success story. We're really proud to share it, and we're looking for more young men and women coming out of college.
Absolutely. And that's been a thing that we've seen, be an incredible benefit, is because, that position, that irrigation technician, a lot of times where you're wanting 5 years or more of experience, right? There's only so many of them out there. And the new licensees and the new trainees, they're not coming on like they used to, candidly.
Nope.
And so we're being forced to get creative. And candidly, it's going to increasingly become more difficult to recruit if technology is not a core component of what you're showing, right? The joke about the wrong end of the shovel. There's a lot of truth to that.
There's really a lot. Nobody wants to be there. The same thing goes on all aspects of the green industry. It's outside in Florida. It's hot during, it gets real hot during the summers. But at the end of the day, if they could see that, it really is a great place to have a career. A lot of people that work for my company are raising families and taking great vacations and doing all things. We just have to, I think we owe it to ourselves in an industry, is to keep up with the technology piece, to attract that talent.
Absolutely. And that's what's been so great about working with you guys, is that everything that, you're studious, you research it, you find it, and you guys have been on the cutting edge. And candidly, that part of Florida has not been, even green industry aside, that part of Florida hadn't always been known for that. And so for you guys to be ahead of the curve, in that part of Florida itself, it really propels you. So speak to me a little bit about how, I don't know if you've got a customer story or anything like that of how you've used the water management, cash savings type of spiel with a new client. What's been some of the reactions when you're coming to those RFP meetings or interviewing a new, prospective client and sharing with them y'all's approach to water? If you have any stories to share there.
I do. And you know me well enough. I'm pretty passionate. Whenever we get on to something that I believe in, I'll make you a believer. And so neat story is when we took you guys on, and, we hit the ground running, Eric, my director of irrigation.
Yeah,
we had clients that bought in on them, and we were selling new properties or making things happen. Well, the owner's house did not get a timer. And I was like, hey, am I ever going to get one of these cool new timers we got going? I'd love to turn my irrigation on from my phone. So long story short, they installed one. And I think I shared this with Brody. My water bill was cut dramatically in half. My water bill. I could not believe it. So with that being said, when I go to sell this, or I came back and I told my business developers and that team, and I share it with my entire team of what Weathermatic has done. I go, guys, I'm living it. I saw it. I'm not trying to sell it. I don't have your bar graphs and all that stuff going on. Let me go talk to somebody if they don't believe it, because I am living it, and I'll bring my water bills. So I don't know if that's a story you're looking for.
No, I love it. I love it.
But I told Brody that story. I said, it's crazy. I saw what it did at my own house. So I use it as a huge selling piece when I visit clients and so forth.
Yeah, we love that. Because it's I do it too. So we make actually a standalone that's more like an economy model, controller for the mass scale, like production home builders and things like that. That's not weather based, and it came out, and I've always had a SmartLink system on my home. And so when our new other controller came out, I put it on just to test it, make sure that there wasn't any bugs, and just get my hands on it. I love to personally put my hands on everything we make. And I started seeing my own personal water bill go back up, on our non-weather based, edition.
Yeah.
I was going, oh my gosh, I couldn't get through 3 months of it without switching back.
Right.
And I was like, guys, I don't know what needs to happen, but test this thing somewhere else. I need my weather station back on here because this is killing me. So it's one of those, once you go that way, you never go back. And we've seen that with clients, particularly once they get a taste of a company like yours, who takes a holistic approach to landscape, right? Landscape and water management, and putting that piece together. they're going to hesitate before they go back to maybe working with that next cheapest bid that doesn't take the system into account, that just does landscape services. They're going to think twice if they ever go back to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know I'll ask you one more thing and then we'll kind of wrap up here. But I know efficiency and kind of crew operations. I know we talked about the hiring component of it. The existing staff, have you guys seen any kind of efficiency gains or site trip reductions or any like time on site savings now, having that percentage of your portfolio connected online versus just windshield time back and forth? What kind of role has that played?
So I'll kind of cover it in two pieces. But one of them obviously is our guys are definitely getting through sites more efficiently. And we look at one thing. They're not doing the 2-minute test run and then, running to the next zone and so forth. And they're also doing quality checks because they can leave it on for as long as they want. And they know they're not having to run back to the clock, turn it on or off, or reset the timer, or they only got 2 minutes to run through the zone or whatever it might be. So I think there's an efficiency piece, but there's also a quality piece. And that's that we try to tell everybody. If you let somebody come out here with a standard timer and they put it on test run or, run tests on the clock, they're going to run through the system. And that's bottom line. That guy
literally run through the system.
Absolutely. That's what they're doing. Our guys are taking their time and doing it. And we show them that they're getting a better quality inspection. And then on the other piece is as you know, Florida's known for hurricanes and so forth. And so for us, when those hurricanes were coming, imagine over 100 sites. And some of those sites have 4, 5, 8, 10 clocks, timers on them. We're having to go shut all of those down as precursors. Now, all of our Weathermatic ones are, we log on to the computer, boom, 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 and they're shut down. You talk about a savings of time and so forth. During COVID, our clients were not in their offices, whether it be their office buildings, whether it be the multifamily world in their leasing offices, whether it was on their campuses. We take care of some campuses. Well, guess what? We were still able to run all their systems, everything. If nobody was allowed, we take care of the University of South Florida's athletic facilities here. We were still able to service their irrigation systems through Weathermatic, and they were beyond excited of the piece that we had shown them. Hey, look what we're doing while you're out of the office, while we're out of while we can't go on campus. Guess what we're still able to do and work. Not only from a partnership piece there, but you got to look at it from the revenue stand piece. We were able to show them where we are still working. And any contractor, that means a lot.
That's a big deal, especially right now. And I mean, to show if you can't get in there, guess we can't bill, guess we can't do it, right? Yeah. I mean, that's a piece that when this whole COVID thing, the shoe kind of dropped, right? And for a long time we had talked about, there's a lot of controllers located in mechanical buildings, and there's, for some of our, residential, management companies, they're always in garages and things like that. Now it's almost transitioned into, unless you're a critical, personnel on site, do not come on my property. Yeah, don't come on. Do not approach the building. Right. Yep. Don't come anywhere near my building or ask to get access to the closet. So all of those weird situations where controllers are located, the sensitivity just went through the roof with this illness going around. Yeah. And so we've seen that be a huge, factor, but I really didn't even consider the fact that, hey, we can still run it from out here. So we get to still bill versus giving that back. So, well, hey, Joe, I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. You've been a head of the pack guy for quite a while. Love that you guys have reached out and continue to push the envelope here with water. Just know that we're forever grateful for the support of our water well program. Just from our partnership alone, being able to contribute to over 100 lives together to provide clean drinking water. And I love how the water story with you personally has kind of come full circle, from fighting fires with it to giving life back with it. So that's a lot of fun, and appreciate everything you've done.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me.